Hi, I'm Sydney, and I am a servant of the Almighty God. Today I want to talk a little bit about the road ahead. Are we headed to utopia or to a dystopia? First, let me give you a little bit of background. Let me indulge myself a little bit. I believe that as a servant, He has prepared me. My life has taken lots of different turns, and from what I realize now, it was all preparation. There is no better preparation than experience. And so from growing up in this little village to traveling, meeting different kinds of people, meeting all the various sheep, to now, professionally, I'm a software engineer. And I have worked on the big mainframes. I've worked on Windows system. I've worked on Linux systems. I have done the front-end GUI, the middleware, and I am a database administrator for both relational databases as well as the modern big data databases. So I've worked on every layer of software. And why is that important? When I look back, along with all the other experiences that He has granted me, I believe that one of the gifts that He has given me is the gift of understanding. And so I had to spend time with all of these things so that I can explain, and with His revelations, I can see things that where we need love, and to explain somewhat as to where we are headed and the choices that we have to make. So as part of this software engineering that I do, I can say that software engineers have the key to all systems. And you're like, how? Why? Why would you say something like that? Well, let me explain. Every time you use you use one of these devices, a phone, a computer, it is built by software engineers. And regardless of who conceived of the idea, they have to explain it to software engineers at some level. Now you may have the front end, the middleware, the back, all the databases that support that. But I've worked on all of them. So I understand that it has to be explained so that they can build it. So all the encryption, everything. And I've worked on lots of these systems. What this has enabled me to do is to see that where we are headed, it can be very, very troubling. And I'm going to make a big statement. Remember this. The things that we do as software engineers is reducing the need for people, for workers. We are constantly, because machines are much more efficient than us. So we are constantly, it's what I tell people all the time. I say, when I walk into some place and I look at what you do, whatever you do that is repeatable, I can build a system to do it just as efficiently as you, and it doesn't have to rest. I mean, we see it all the time, right? We see how these huge factories now have robots. They work 24/7 because whatever you did was a series of planned activities based on certain decisions. If this, do this. If this, do this. And now with AI, we capture all the possible combinations, and we say, oh, we learn to make more intelligent decisions. So we capture that information, and so we are constantly interrogating that database and saying, okay, if it's this, then this one. And then these series of decisions follow, and so we become more intelligent at making decisions. Maybe we approach human intelligence, maybe not, but even now, we're doing a really good job. And I'll go back to the first time I saw this was many years ago. I remember working at this public company that we had this accounting department. This is the first time I saw it. This was back in the 80s. And we had this floor. We were on the fourth floor. I think they were on the fifth floor. There was this entire floor of people, girls working in accounting, mainly females working in accounting. And every day they'd come down and they would get their reports and they would go back upstairs and do whatever they did in accounting. And we started working on this system. And it took us maybe about 6 months, 9 months. We implemented it. And I can remember one of the guys was working in the mailroom, and some of them disappeared. And then I realized, wow, we just replaced all of them by building this system. Because what they did was repeatable. And now you hear people think of even things like construction, but I'm seeing it already. All right? We know that you put the pieces that go up straight, those, can't remember the name of them right now, but they're offset by 16 inches, let's say. Well, a robot can hold it and measure it, check the angle. We use all those things. So even construction, because some people think that construction workers may be immune from this. No, they're not. I explain to people, you see it with medicine already. Soon, even in the courts, you see we have attorneys who they have to research precedent and cases are changing. Well, AI can do a very good job of that. What we do is it will not replace everyone, but you don't need a team anymore because the software will do all the research and you have a few who really are good about presentation. That's what matters now. It's like I can present this. All of this is leading to that state that, like I'm saying, if we go back in history, a lot of this is opinion, and I hope that I'm guided with the right words, the right concepts. But one of the things that I recognized was, in the past, you had systems that were dominated by males. And so when we had wars, we razed and we burned and we destroyed everything. And one of the beautiful things is that now females have more power. And in large part because of the beauty of them and the nurturing of them, we don't do that anymore. We become more sensitized to the crazy things that we did. When you have a society that's totally dominated by men, we tend to be extreme because we are about results, and whatever gives us results, that's what we do. Okay? And that's why I love it, because females, as have been revealed to me, they are the primary conduits, conduits of culture. And so they teach us how we dress, how we behave. The primary conduits of culture, the females, and with their nurturing, by bringing them to prominence, they make us better. They bring, obviously, the beauty because, we just want it done. And so it doesn't matter what it looks like, but they bring beauty, they bring that nurturing, they bring all of this to us. And as they rise in prominence with their special skill sets, they bring so much to us, to the society. We become better. And it's his design. He gave us certain skills. And so I'm always against people who it's like, this side is bad. No, it's his design. As servants, we honor that diversity. But that isn't really diversity. It's part of us. It's like we are half. Males, we are half. They're the other half. Maybe the better half. But moving forward, the challenge we have is if you look at the segment I did on love, we need it. Because as we move forward, the need for people will be continually reduced, because that, again, I am involved in this. And every time I walk in and I see people doing things repetitively, and I think, because it's part of me now. It's part of, I look for efficiency. Everything, I want to be efficient. And I'm like, wow, I can automate that. I can automate that. But by automating that, I'm getting rid of people. One of the things I recognize, even within that framework, I recognize that every business, and this is what we need to understand, every business, every part of society should be for the benefit of society. And who is society? It's all of us. When we learn to love, we recognize, yes, there's a pyramid. There are those that are gifted, the gifted ones, who can walk in and can question things and then realize, oh, there's a better way, there's a more efficient way. We can release those efficiencies. Unfortunately, that gets rid of people. And I'll tell you again, I've spent many, many years in the corporate world. I've worked in automotive, insurance, manufacturing, retail, state government, federal government. I've seen this, and oftentimes I see people who I'm like, wow, I can just, automate that system. But you have to recognize these people are the ones that keep our societies running. Those jobs that we replace pay the wages, so that they can build houses, raise children, keep our societies moving forward. If we keep on the path of eliminating those people, never mind the French Revolution, we get to this ugly state where we have the people at the very top who may be infected by evil or simply do not have that sense of community, that everything they do should benefit the entire society. And so they say, no, it's about me. There is a beauty, though. Part of the beauty is that we're not here forever. And so, it's that whole thing of he who has the most toys when he dies wins. Some winner you are there. To move towards this, if we continue moving that way, we are heading to a dystopia where those who are gifted, and we did not give ourselves that gift. No one has a choice in where or how they are born. We're given that opportunity, that gift. We should be like those trees planted by the river. Give fruit. Recognize that the pyramid, yes, there are those at the top of the pyramid that are gifted. But the pyramid has to have the different structures to stand. When people have nothing to lose, we get into a very difficult, should I say, French Revolution all over again? And people say, well, that can never happen. But every system, yes, we have, let's say, the military, whatever. I'll use that word loosely. But they are supposed to be pointing outwards, protecting this society, this civilization, this country, this whatever. They should be pointing outwards to protect it. If we keep moving towards a dystopia, what you find is, and I'm sure you can relate to this happening already, we start using those forces that should be pointing outwards to protect, says no, point inwards and protect us, or protect the top from those people, which are part of the same society. that is a sign of a decline. And that ultimately leads to destruction. Do you see that happening already? Where this very small group says, no, I need these people to protect me from, rather than pointing outwards, we want to get to this small group. And so the bottom of the pyramid is only there, not only to serve them, but they become contemptuous of them, and so actually are willing to destroy them. Where are we headed as a society? Where are we headed as a civilization? That brings us to the very, I guess, tough at this point. But the reality is, part of my experiences, I have traveled quite a bit. I've lived in different, and I love to live with the sheep. Because when you have love, you want to learn more. It's not just being about exclusive. I don't care. I don't care for that. I love to live with his sheep, to see them, and I've learned that most people, they're very content. They're content to be at that part of the pyramid. I was surprised to learn this. Most people want food, shelter. They are not trying to be billionaires. They're very content. You think that's not true? Let me ask you this. There are those of us who make, let's say, X dollars when we work in our employment. And if I were to say to you, if you were to spend this much time, you could move up here. And that's true, regardless of whether you make 50,000, 100,000, 400,000, 4 million. If you work harder, but at some point we say, it's not worth it. There is life. Life has to go on. I don't want to spend all my time just be searching for that. And that's why we should empathize with others who prioritize other things. It says, I need this much to live. I need this much to live, and I can be happy here. I am content. Recognize, again, we are all conduits. Just like I said, the females are the primary conduits of culture. We can see even the descendants of slaves can rise. The dependence of the very bottom of the pyramid, because within a child, we don't know where the spark, which child has that spark. We don't know where the next great invention that moves the civilization comes from. And so this is one of the things that we've been shortchanging ourselves. Because when we say only these kids, if we let all kids, we don't know where the next spark comes from that moves this civilization forward. And this is why we should enable all. But we need love. And that leads us into, as we become more efficient, we will have the very top will become smaller, and they will make a lot more. We have to find a way to support the rest of the pyramid. And I know people say, well, you're talking about socialism. And I had this discussion with someone once, because this person needed a lot of medical attention. And so they were very happy to see how much, the treatment that they were going in for this blood stuff, and it was very expensive. And I said, are you paying for that by yourself? Oh no, there's no way okay, so you are using someone like me who, I run around, play soccer, take care of my health, and I don't need to go in all the time. I am contributing to your treatment. Isn't that a sort of social, we all contribute and you benefit? And then working with state government, working with the federal government, I started realizing, wow, here is another form of it. We all like to drive on nice roads. We all want the police and the fire department to be there when we need them. We are not paying for this individually when we go to the airport. So there are a lot of services. We love them to be there, and everyone pays for them, right? But we don't recognize that. Those are things that we come together and we all pay for the benefit of all of us. When we get into the situation which we are headed there, whether it be 50 years or 500 years, we are headed there, where the things that I have started doing as a software engineer, so companies everywhere are doing it right now. We are releasing efficiencies, but we are reducing the need for people. And out of those same people, there will be a kid who questions everything from the time they're born. Now, you don't just question without knowledge. So the first they need education, because we all climb on the backs of the giants that go before us. So you get educated, and then you see things and says, but something about this, maybe I can do this better. We don't know where that next kid comes from. And if we limit the pool from which these kids come, we are shortchanging ourselves. We are holding back our own civilization. When you really question things, like, for instance, I tell people all the time, I says, we have done great things with, light, sound, so many forces of the universe. We've been able first to understand. First, we must understand. And then when we understand how it works, then we can use it. We can manipulate it. We can basically find unique uses, unleash the potential that may not be visible at a cursory glance at it. So as an example, with electricity, we understood how that potential difference and the amperage and the voltage, and so we can transform it by to get it over long distances, and with AC current versus DC. With light, now we can actually use packets of light to carry information from one place to another. We can carry so much data using light. One of the things that we really don't understand, and imagine if we did, because again, first we understand, then we can unleash potential that's not readily apparent. Imagine when we understand gravity, where we can concentrate it, we can dilute it. Think about, but things like this, if we, as a human civilization, if we only say that this small pool, because we don't know where the next genius is going to come from, and we say it only comes from this pool, we are limiting ourselves, we're hurting ourselves. And so it comes back to the dystopia. Do we go to the smaller and smaller pool? Because these are the people, the gifted ones now, and they are the only ones that have this. Or do we say, there is an entire pool out there? Yes, the parents may not be striving to get to the top. They do not want to get to the top. They say, no, it's important. Family is important to me, and I'm comfortable at this level. But somewhere, they could be a conduit, 1 generation, 2 generations away, where there is this one kid with a spark that moves this entire civilization. We have to support that. And like I said, just like we love good roads, just like we want to have, well, even with schools, we can I say we're screwing that up too? But the basic education that you need, so that spark gets released. Because then, without the basic climbing on the back of the giants that went before, the basic education and understanding, you have no time. Plus, you may be busy just trying to eat. But if you get to that level where now you start questioning, well, why do we do this? Because I understand the fundamentals of this. I understand, how light works and photons and how, the energy that's contained and, all of this and, E equal to mc squared and all. I understand all of this. But somewhere in there, we need more people to be questioning those things. And that's how we unleash the full potential of the civilization. This leads to the dystopia. How do we get there? By supporting that entire pyramid, recognizing that somewhere out there, and whenever we see something that's good, we support it. With love, it does not have to have a certain color. It does not have to have a certain religion. It does not have to any of this. As servants, we recognize with love, we need to support all of his servants, all of his sheep, all of his creations. And from there, not just it could be in medicine, it could be in music, it could be in whatever. But because as we see now, people who were pushed aside create music. People who we see this, whether it's art, it's music, but there are other places where you need the fundamentals. You need that basic education, because without that, you can't question the more esoteric and more advanced principles. And by supporting this, we can get to that utopia that he wants us to have. We have to be prepared to support all. And so even though with the software and the automation and AI, we will need less people, we have to support all. We have to be prepared to support all. And we can. The resources are there. The revelations that are given to us enable us to do that. But it's our selfishness. It's our selfishness that says, no, it's just for me. I want to have all of it by the time I die. And then it goes back into a smaller and smaller pool, and we inhibit our own advancements by reducing the pool from which the new inventions, the new creativity, all of these can come. We have to be prepared to support the entire pyramid, recognizing not everyone wants this much. Most people, they just want enough to eat. They want to be able to live. And so there is a level that we can provide that. The benefit is that out of that, and with education is so important, because that's the base from which we will have people questioning and saying, take me to the next level. We see it all the time, right? Think about how many of the people who moved us forward, who left college because, no, I know enough. Think about how many today have left college because they started and they're like, no, I don't need to go and just get this to get into a job. These are those points of light that have moved us forward, right? Whether it's Microsoft, FedEx, Facebook, whatever, we see this, Apple, all of these things, they say, no, I'm going to build this. And this is what, but that's a limited pool. Think about, we enlarge that pool. There's something I will do, the SOTAG immortality plan. Those of us that are the gifted ones, who society has rewarded, what if you took it upon yourselves to support those? Even if it's saying, wherever there's a spark, so that my work, my ability goes to feed those sparks, and you find them regardless. And you say, the larger the pool, the likelihood of the advancement. And yes, you can leave, they can be affiliated with you. I'll talk about that in what I call the SOTAG immortality plan. But again, this is about, are we headed to a dystopia where those who can benefit the most become a smaller and smaller group, with the bottom of the pyramid, his creations suffer, and we head to this uncertain future, or are we prepared to support the entire structure, recognizing again that not everyone, most of his sheep, they just want to live, to enjoy the basics, and we can do that. And out of that large pyramid, we will move our society forward and to a utopia where we have a lot more discoveries, whether it's in medicine, science, art, wherever. Even the spiritual realm, we'll have more people that take the lead, are inspired, and serve the fullness of their existence. And we all benefit from this, because that's the reality. We have one or two who they seek truth, they seek knowledge. We all benefit. So once again, I thank you for taking the time to review this, and I hope it gave you something to think about. And as I go, I'd like to thank the Almighty for giving me this time, for blessing me and keeping my counsel so that I can bring this message. I thank you for taking the time to watch. Thanks again.